Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to Community Updates. I'm your host, Michelle White, and tonight we have Dr. Calvin Mann, who owns a MEMIY male mentoring program. And so this is where we are here helping build stronger relationships, help build stronger communities. So we're glad that you've tuned in this evening to WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. You're right here on Community Updates every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. And we thank you for tuning in. And if you've got some other things or things that you would like to be shown, or subject matters that you would like as well, and do you hear that noise? That was, and do you, if we have other things that you would like topics, inbox me, text me. You see me right on Facebook, Michelle Turner White on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram and YouTube and all the streaming platforms. But we like to talk about things that are of interest and of help to people. Sometimes people have asked me, well, why did you want to do a talk show like this? Because I found that there's a lot of information out there that people just don't know about. And I've read somewhere that people perish because of the lack of knowledge. So we want to make sure that you have the knowledge, that you know where you can go. I posted just this week, there's different expungements taking place around the states. Check out my Facebook page, Michelle Turner White, and you'll see the expungement information on there. But we always post different information. I've been posting Dr. Mann's information about the Emmy Foundation, and it's EMIY. Tell me again what that stands for. Thank,
Encourage me, I'm young.
encourage me, I'm young. So, Dr. Mann, we thank you for being our guest for today. And we are glad that we can be here with you and talk about some of the things that are going on. Male mentoring is such a needed area. You know, we have programs for all the women, women's empowerment, go girls, women this, black women that, white women that, women, women, women. And that's fine. I'm a woman. But there are not nearly enough things out there for men. And they need it more. We're out of order. The men need to be first. I'm not saying I'm don't go hit me, women. I'm not saying that we don't need what we need, and we need encouragement too. We need it severely. We all do, though. I was looking up today because this is Women's History Month. So I was looking up today about Men's History Month. There isn't one. There's Men's International Day in November. And I forget the person who started that, but there is no Men's History Month. So, you know, we just have to make our own history. We just have to, Men's History Month. This today is Men's History Month. Every day should be History Month for all people, places, things, history for all cultures. So, we're going to be talking with Dr. Calvin Mann. Tell us how you got started with the Emmy, and tell us again what Emmy mentoring program, what the Emmy stands for, EMIY.
Encourage me, I'm young.
Encourage me, I'm young. And don't we all need encouragement? It should start when you're young. I hate it when people say, "Ooh, my that baby, he's so bad. Oh, them kids so bad." Don't be calling your children bad. Speak life into your little people. Speak life. I know somebody who used to say all the time that, "Oh, my child, he a little gangster. He found $5. He found $10. He found $50 as he was growing up." Don't you know the children, both of her boys, turned out to be gangsters? She
Wow.
spoke it into their lives from the time they were little, 4 or 5,
Wow.
on to the time. And then if your children are finding money all the time, parent, catch a clue. Who finds money all the time? Catch the clue. Kids don't find $50 and $20 every other day.
No.
Come on now. You're supposed to be the wiser one. Supposed to be.
Right.
But anyway, come on, Dr. Man. Tell us about the Emmy mentoring, male mentoring group, and how you founded it.
So we back in about 2011, I got with somebody and we set up to get the boys out of the way because they were picking up boys on writs to fill up the beds in juvenile.
Mm,
Our boys are highly exposed to criminality, right? Criminality from both sides, not just from their perspective, but from the perspective that they're wanted, right? And they're wanted because they're eating off these boys. And the system knows that when you remove a father, it creates a bad boy. And
Potentially,
potentially,
mostly,
yeah,
huge percentage.
yes, yes. And they know the fatherless homes contribute to. They know boys that can't read, which we're doing a crowdfunding campaign for 100 boys right now for our Reading is Life program. They know that the boy can't read. They know the boy can't, do math. They know that the boy doesn't have exposure as much as the girl has
Now,
exposure.
why can't the children read if they're in school? Come on, I know the answer, but I want you to say.
Well, they're not taught. They're not prepared to
Mm,
read. A number of children are not prepared to read consistently. But there are 45 million Americans that can't read or do math
and a
and
lot of
write.
times people rely just on the teachers to teach their children to
Yes,
read.
yes,
Parents, you must be involved
yeah,
in your children's education.
yeah, all the
You
way,
have to teach them all the way,
all the way.
even when they get in college. It was a teacher that taught me when my son was like, I don't know, 10 or 11, and she said, well, Miss White, you think because he's 10 and 11 maybe he doesn't need your help with the homework. She says, no, he still needs your help with the homework. So don't just think. And that was so true. So I started sitting down doing the homework with him, and it just improved greatly. But you've got to be a part of your children's education all the way through high school, definitely, if not some of their college.
Yeah, you have to be involved, right?
Yes.
It's not, parenting is not something that you can just have an expectation and then the results is going to be good. Parenting is something that you have to be involved. So in our mentoring program, we started grabbing boys to prevent them from being picked up in the bed. And then we succeeded behind that with an additional 200 and 200 and 200 boys. Then we did our first ever man to man issue conference, and we did that, and we locked arms with a number of people that was in the community with men, the whole nine. To we pledged to do the work, and there are only a few of us still doing the work, and I understand why, right? And so I paused mentoring this spring
Hmm.
due to the fact that there is very little investment in the boy.
Okay. So now, listeners, if you want to type in any comments or anything, you can watch us on WJZZ Cool TV Facebook page and or go on YouTube and watch us as well. And if you want to type in any comments or anything, we can see them here on the screen and I can ask your questions. Um, so your mentoring program, you said you didn't do it in the fall, but you starting it back up now.
We're going to start it in the fall, back in the fall. We didn't do it in the spring.
Okay.
Spring is normally our big. Hopefully, we get the support financially to do so, or it will again be paused, right? Because
Hmm.
we're no longer going to put our programming. We have the outcomes. We have the outcomes that we believe a lot of people are looking for. 98% parental involvement.
That's
All of
wonderful.
our boys are successful young men.
Hmm.
Our boys do community service. Our boys are helping throughout the
I need
school,
some voice for community service. We'll talk.
right? And then our boys are in projects. Our boys are in college. Our
What
boys
type
are,
of projects?
well, we've had young men
STEM
continue their,
projects.
no, they've continued um, their work in the community where they still do their community service. So we had young men who wrap up sandwiches, go down, and every now and then harass their mom to go down and do it again, right? And make sure that the homeless get sandwiches and things
So
like
these
that.
are boys that needed community service hours.
No,
Okay.
that's part of our program.
Okay. Which helps them to
Teaching
get
them
into
be,
college.
well, I understand that part, but it helps them be servant leaders. We need more
Hmm.
leaders. That's
Yes.
why it's called ME Future Leaders. We need more leaders. We need more people to understand, more young men to understand that they are valuable and they are important.
Hmm.
And so, getting them in shape, teaching them another language, making sure that they do a community service project. Also, right, breathing circles to reduce the trauma. Um, Fathers who are mentors, all our mentors are fathers, um, which that's our secret sauce, and we just make sure that we continue to do the work. Right now, though, um, again, the getting people to invest is difficult, right? So you think about it. We got 100 boys on a waiting list for our reading program,
Mm,
right? Age 3 to 7,
mhm.
right? So you would think that a crowdfunding campaign for something like that would be important, but it's just really not important to us. It's it right. So uh,
So
it's
you
not
need
important
more
to the right people.
mentors to come
No,
out.
we need the funding.
You need the
We
funding.
need the funding. We're crowdfunding for 300,000. We need the funding. We got to do 100 boys. We got 100. That's 100 families. That's mothers, kids, nephew. You know what I mean? So having to raise that type of money, and we're doing this as we speak, right?
So going
To
after grants and doing different
Yeah, but
fundraisers.
you already know the grants are in trouble, right? And then grants, only 10% of BIPOC agencies ever get any philanthropic money anyway across this country. Only 10% of BIPOC agencies, right? That's a whole dynamic that people um, ignore. So when we're knocking on the door and we're talking about the boy, or we're reaching out to be supported, um, we're in this niche, right? We didn't include girls. We didn't do kids. We did boys. Why?
3 to 7.
We did boys for the reading program. We do boys for our mentoring program. We do boys for our elite program. We do boys because they get the least amount of work. Our boys are undervalued from the home, from the rooter to the tutor, and so they get love from us. And we make sure that our men are, because we get the boys that have trauma. But it's amazing the work we do inside of 14 weeks with just some exercise, some character conversations, and some breathing circles. And it's amazing how those
And they
things
need breathing
reduce
circles to help their stress levels.
and all of that. We do that because they were saying, um, we were seen as not a mental health, right? But the truth of the matter, it is mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise, it is mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
The truth of the matter, they were looking for all these bells and whistles and antidotes, who's the doctor on campus and things like that. You know what I mean? Who's doing that? A breathing circle for what we do inside of 14 weeks, and we only get them twice. If we were able to get these boys 4 times a week, you'd have a problem
Mm.
because they'll be so far ahead, right?
So you get the boys twice a
We
week.
were only getting them twice a week, Sundays and Monday to start off the week,
Mm-hmm.
and the parents then come in, and the parents have a ball session. So inside of our mentoring program is the session where we bring the parents in, and we work on the parent.
What are some of the traumas that you see with the youth?
Well, the kids, they don't have all kinds of things. You have IEP kids, you have ADHD kids, you have kids who asthma, you have all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's how they walk in the door. That is not how they leave after 14 weeks, right? And if you follow the script
Mm-hmm.
after the 14 weeks, you got a pretty successful young man. So then you're able to put that young man in other things.
Like what?
It doesn't matter, sports, robot classes, whatever you want to put, chess,
I don't know if you
any of
know,
those
but
things.
Wayne County Community College District has summer programs for the youth, like youth kids college,
Hmm.
and we have. I work there too, and we have robotics and just all kind of
Yeah, they're able to
things.
go and all that. We feed those systems.
Mm-hmm.
You leave us, we feed those systems. One of my boys won the state championship at 12, pinned a 15-year-old in wrestling. But I had him 2 years, right? And in 2 years, we transitioned, improved, family came closer together, and they were able to move. And once we cut him loose, all right, he ready, let's put him in. We saw a tremendous upside with this kid. So they stuck him in the wrestling, and he won the championship first year,
Awesome.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
when we got him,
Mm-hmm.
we start our boys with the physical,
Mm-hmm.
because physical is to mental as one is to two. if I physically address the issue, meaning running, diet, the whole nine, like we tell the parents, you got to stop giving these kids pop, stop giving these kids these silly chips and the fire chips and those are not
And
things.
everything is
Yeah,
they
right,
like all the hot stuff.
right. But psychologically,
Hmm.
we're damaging them.
Hmm.
Food, food's supposed to be for the brain, then goes to the body,
Hmm.
right? That's just the way it's supposed to be.
I'm sorry, I could see my all my godchildren. They were little. Auntie, I like them. Oh, let's see, but they seem too hot. Yeah, but I like them.
Yeah, burning up their livers, burning up. Kids are literally are burning holes in their bodies from them chips
Wow.
and things like that. It's not hard to find.
Yeah.
You know that information is out there.
Yeah. They said that
Yeah,
it's not good for
it's
anybody.
not good for anybody. So those things where you're eating those things, you're not improving the kid.
Hmm.
Uh, in some cases, kids they say, well, kids don't have a meal. Okay, so if a kid doesn't have a meal, let's say I gave that kid eggs, right? Let's just say I gave that kid just two scrambled eggs. The kid didn't have a meal versus me giving that kid a bag of chips. If I get that kid who really ain't had a meal, a bag of chips and a pop, in an hour, that same kid gonna be hungry again.
I just really hope that our government does not take out our food programs for the kids because sometimes that's the only meal that the kids get.
Well, yeah, yeah, but again, if if we know these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said,
Mm-hmm.
we know what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why are we not looking out for each other? Why are we not moving closer together? Why are we not explaining and getting our kids out of these corner stores and off them pops and them bad stuff? I had a kid athlete when I was coaching high school basketball. Every day, this kid had a submarine. Had to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The doctor was asking what was his diet. He was eating a hot submarine from the store. That was his dinner. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That submarine took him to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The next day he come to practice, he can't eat that stuff. So we changed our whole basketball program for a study table, where our study table then we had parents bringing and supporting, and then we had food. We begin to work together
Mm-hmm.
versus the other way. Well, this kid has got to have a decent meal. So why not all our boys had a right meal? So when they're playing, they have had healthy pasta, salads, those things that while they're playing, they would get the energy from. So for a kid that is, they might only have a shot at one meal. Why would I give that kid a bunch of bread and potato chips and things like that? Because those things are only going to make them more hungry, because that's what sugar and those things do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
They make you
It
hungry.
make you hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I give you
On
this
top of the
one,
fact that it's not good for
it's
you.
not good for you. I give
Mm-hmm.
you this one good meal,
Mm-hmm.
you can go that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
So when
so
you
much.
say how can we help, that we need to help each other if we know that maybe in a year or two our food programs might be taken away in our school systems because of things that the government is doing, what suggestions are you offering that communities or individuals can do? Because right
So
now everybody's, the groceries are so high, everybody's trying to, keep their houses put with some food. And thank
well,
God for forgotten harvests and gleaners.
yeah. So to be honest with you, um, it's what can we do? Great question, right? What can
Hmm.
we do? We can all share.
Hmm.
I know I could, I can go one meal. I've done it before. I do it 100 times. I can do that, and I
Hmm.
can afford another, letting go some meals, right?
Hmm.
So I'm only on 2 meals a day right now anyway,
Me too.
right?
Hmm.
So I can go a day,
Hmm.
right? So but this is what we already do.
Hmm.
So we come together and share. It's what we already do. All the
Well,
men
share
that
how?
I'm with,
Be more specific.
we share
I'm
resources, we
saying
share
because
information.
after COVID, people don't feel comfortable just eating food from anyone. So it's not like you're not suggesting that people, or are you suggesting that people take canned goods or things that children can eat
Well,
to the schools? But the schools don't want that.
well, let's not even talk about the school, right? I'm
Okay.
just talking about my neighbors,
Hmm. Oh,
right?
amongst neighbors. sharing
My
amongst neighbors
friends.
and friends. Yes.
Hey, what you
That we
doing?
can do.
I got a call today. Hey, what you doing?
Hmm.
Nothing. Hey, uh, come on, let's do lunch.
Hmm.
The let's do
I
lunch.
just had two friends give me food,
Right.
and then I had someone over and gave them food. Hmm.
Share.
Yes.
Right.
Hmm.
It we get to the point to where we share information, we
Hmm.
build trust. Where we
Hmm.
share information, we build economy. Where
Hmm.
we share information, we build resources. Where we share information, we build relationships. Where we continuously share information.
Just like we're doing right here on community updates. We're sharing information, we share resources amongst each other. And again, thank you for tuning in to community updates right here on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. We have, you can hear us, watch us on Facebook and YouTube. And you can go to WJZZ Cool TV on Facebook, and you can go to YouTube and look up community updates, or you can go to WJZZ Cool TV to look that up on YouTube as well. And then we have a sponsor, ABB Wealth Strategies. ABB Wealth Strategies is a financial company that helps you get peace of mind, to give you strategies that can help you diversify your income with no limits, and how you can be help to make different strategic moves with for your retirement. You can be in retirement or preparing for retirement. But give Todd Bernstein a call at 248 988 8200. Again, that's 248 988 8200. Let them know you heard about it right here on WJZZ and Community Updates. And we thank you again for tuning in and listening. So you're exactly right, Dr. Mann, that we have to come together more as a community and share amongst people. Don't even know their neighbors like we used to when we were growing up. We've got to start there. Know your neighbors and be friendly. Even though I know things are a little bit more challenging, but that's because we've made them more challenging. If we share more with family, share more within our communities, and that even means observing things.
Yeah.
If you see your neighbor's child do something, don't just sit there and watch. Tell that child.
Mm.
Talk and not be afraid to tell them. Even though I don't know, some of these parents, they're ready to cuss you out.
Well,
So I
yeah,
don't
but
know.
well, when you don't have, again, this is why we need to share,
Yeah.
right? This is why, right? The community is a void of healthy men,
Hmm.
right?
Are you
We
teaching them how to create things with their hands and have a tool and a
Well,
hammer?
yeah, I mean,
You guys teach
for
that?
us, yeah, we've brought in computers. We've got That's why we're working on the tech school
And they
in
still need
Oakland
to know
County,
how to have a hammer and a
right?
tool,
All of that, but they're
screwdriver.
first that character.
Yes.
That's why we focus on the character. You can teach
Mhm.
them anything when they have high character,
Yes.
right? They'll learn. They'll
Building their
know.
self esteem.
Yeah,
Hmm.
having character, understand the
Hmm.
difference, what respect is, what the
Yes.
understanding of being trustworthy, and
Hmm.
how to not be a thief, and
Hmm.
right. We take the N word out. The number one rule in the program is you can't use the N word,
Hmm.
because
How
why?
to pull their pants up.
We don't even have that issue,
Mm. That's wonderful.
right?
Hmm.
The dynamic in our that over the years in our mentoring program that we're the most proud about
Hmm.
is we know that these young men will become men, husbands, and fathers.
Yes.
We got the data already,
Hmm.
right? So it's not like we are just what we're teaching them, right? We're just a part of the ingredient, right?
Hmm.
And knowing that we're just a part of the ingredient is the significant piece that every father in his right space and right opportunity should be doing with their children.
Hmm. That's true. Um, so, with some of the things that you all are doing, and I see this wonderful book that you brought here today, teaching them cursive writing.
So
That's so important to
yes,
teach the children. Why the schools ever took cursive writing out of the schools, I would never know. How you going to sign a check? How you going to sign your name if you don't know how to write in cursive? So Dr. Mann has a wonderful book that he has for sale, and I'm sure you can catch it on their website. They also have many other books, and we're going
yeah,
to talk about that in a moment.
yeah.
But this is one of the books that he is the author of about cursive. It's a writing a workbook for your children and teaching them how to write in cursive, showing them how to make the capital A's and take the lines and do it. Don't let that go. Do not think because someone said that our children don't need to continue learning cursive writing that that's so. That's retarded. You don't just take everything that someone else said and go for it. Your children need to learn how to write in cursive. So if the school isn't teaching them, then parent, grandparent, auntie, uncle, it's up to you to teach them to not maybe go to the party that night, not maybe hang with Bobo and them that day. Teach the kids so that the next generation can learn how to do what you know how to do. And if you don't know how to do it, well, you'll be learning too.
Yeah, it's no question. The real reason why I chose to do this cursive writing workbook is because as you go through this cursive writing book, it's
Mhm.
all positive. Every
Mhm.
word that they'll trace is a
Mhm.
positive word.
Awesome.
Every paragraph that they'll trace is a
Mhm.
positive. So cognitively, I am having them write script positivity into their minds,
Okay.
right? So this is a significant piece to why. Why? Because cursive writing is connected to your ability to be an engineer, your ability to navigate other trades and skills.
Mhm.
Cursive writing is that powerful and it's cognitive. So it helps the brain because it forces you to use the other side of your brain. A lot of us didn't understand when we were learning cursive writing how important it was to us.
Mhm.
And so when they took it out, they were just taking it out because they thought everything was going to be tech. And what you're finding is the more technology you go, the more you still need that signature. If that's the case, if everybody can duplicate your signature, so if everything is electronic, I can duplicate anything that you have, right?
Mhm.
And I can come close to it. But if you know my personal signature is on things, that makes a difference. So for us, it's about being a star. It was the other reason why we
Mhm.
brought the cursive writing because I realized and recognized that my boys signing in at the program didn't even have, we had one boy that can write in cursive.
One.
One.
Wow.
He could write his name in cursive. That was
Mm.
it. That was it. He was taught to write it
Mhm.
a signature.
That's it.
That's it, right? But
So parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles teach them more than how to write just their name.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can even get books from the dollar store,
yeah.
but these are for sale. How much are these books?
These are $26,
And
right?
these we can give away if anybody's on
Yeah,
list
you can get
tuning
them away.
in,
Yep.
and we can give these books away. So if you type in and contact us that you would like one of these books for your children or your grandchildren, we don't need you to take one of these books and just put it on a shelf. Please let this be a book for your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, to teach them cursive. And they, they have paper like this that where the big lines and where you can practice even in the dollar store if you can't afford one of these books. But then, as Dr. Mann was saying, all of the books here, he has written this book, so you're always writing a positive word, something to encourage you, something to build you up and uplift you. And that's so important. We all need that. We all need to be encouraged and uplifted in our minds so that we can do better. I had to tell someone just the other day, if you can't say something positive to me, then we can't continue talking because I need to keep myself built up and encouraged. Don't you?
Oh yeah,
Because we're
I make sure
especially
of
as
it.
busy as we are, we're all so busy. We have to continue to uplift ourselves and get up in the morning and say affirmations, whether it's throughout the day or in the morning.
Yes.
But there's things that we do to keep ourselves uplifted.
Yeah. Me is reading.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
always reading.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always researching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always looking for some more information.
Mm-hmm.
Learned a new word called vasopressin.
Okay.
It's
Tell us
the
what that
word.
means.
So vasopressin is a word that explains there's a difference between a man and a woman.
Oh,
So vasopressin,
give it in a sentence, sir.
we both have vasopressins,
Mm-hmm.
right? One of the things about vasopressins is that how you sleep and
Mm-hmm.
respond to the children. It's the same way how I sleep and respond to the noise outside. I'll sleep through the children
Hmm.
like you'll sleep through the noise outside. Vasopressin.
Vasopressin.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it's another one of those things in recognizing why um, I do the research to bring the information back to the father because it's we have grown a society where we've not valued the father enough to understand what he really brings to the table.
Mhm.
And so I speak on fatherhood globally.
And our men, I know our men are hurting and they have so much responsibility and they can't always have the opportunity to express it or don't feel that they have the opportunity to express it.
Yeah, it's a lot of we don't look at it from the perspective culturally how far we're behind in a number of areas.
Mhm.
Parenting is one of those areas. Now we show up in a lot of areas,
Mhm.
right? We show up as the most involved father as black fathers, that whole dynamic. But that's a small fragment compared to what we really could bring to the table, right? And where the value is disconnected is it impacts the woman's infant mortality, it impacts the woman's essence and the cognitive connection to the child, it impacts the woman's ability to birth a healthy child, it impacts so my
Men
absence
impact women in more ways
more
than they
ways than
even know.
right. But when I'm even when I'm becoming as the child is coming out,
Hmm.
the fact that I'm transitioning, we forget in relationships that a wife must transition. A woman transitions into a wife.
Hmm.
You don't walk in the door and you're
Knowing
just
how
a
to
wife,
exactly.
right?
Hmm.
A man must transition into fatherhood and transition into a husband,
Hmm.
right? That takes work.
Hmm.
We don't walk in the door
That's why
automatically
marriage takes work.
work. Yeah,
Hmm.
we don't walk in the door and automatically I love you, you love me, and then hey, tomorrow we're at forever. No, it don't
Doesn't
work
happen
that
like
way,
that.
right? So
And
it,
parenting, you don't know
yeah,
how to be a parent. You
right,
can read all the books you want.
yeah, but you have to go through the process to become,
Yes.
right? And some of the things that you think, like you said, some of the things that your parents taught you,
Hmm.
you didn't think you would ever use, but you use them.
One of them I was sharing with Dr. Mann before we came on that my parents used to go and I said they would go to the teachers and tell the teachers these are my children, but it really wasn't the children because I have two other sisters. They was Michelle right here because I was the one that gave them a little bit more challenge
Hmm.
and a lot more challenge. But thank you, Lord, they kept me because they could have gotten rid of me and the police would have said, okay, yeah, you get rid of her. But they would say, "This is our child. This is our number. If you have any problem out of this one right here, you just call me. Call me personally." And I swore I would never do that to my son. I did it every school he went to, sat right there in the classroom, observing the
Yeah,
teachers,
yeah,
observing
yeah,
the students, sometimes both with them seeing me.
yeah,
And at that time, you could go into the school and just observe
yeah,
without the parent or the teacher or the child
yeah,
seeing you too. I did all of that exactly like my
yeah,
parents did.
yeah.
And it was important. And now he's a very successful, awesome parent, good young man, mighty man of God, business owner, all of that.
Right,
But it took work.
right. And you and because it it takes that, right?
Hmm.
Um, we like to we like to play the individual game.
Hmm.
When you find uh, a successful male, right,
Hmm.
or a successful child, what was the ingredients to that child, right? And so when you evaluate, because that's my next book coming out this year on my birthday, when you evaluate
When's your birthday?
September,
Okay.
right? When you evaluate
Hmm.
what is the ingredients of a successful child, right? And if you get right into the ingredients, if you give credit to where it is supposed to go, you will find that there was a favorite teacher. You will find that there was a coach. You'll find the janitor said some, gave some good information.
Hmm.
You'll find the neighbor who showed up at all the birthday parties gave wisdom, right? So
or
the
would tell the parents things they saw the child doing.
yeah,
Our parents, our neighbors used to do. We couldn't stand the
yeah,
grams, but thank God for the grams.
yeah,
They would tell our parents when they drove up in the driveway, they did this, they did that, they had people over. But those were good neighbors.
yeah.
Now, did we like it as children? No,
No,
but
no,
we weren't supposed to like
no, no.
it.
They were looking out, but
They were looking out.
that was the
That was the
ingredient,
ingredient.
right?
Yes.
And so we don't believe, but I do. All ingredients count to the
Hmm.
success of any child.
I had my son had his first business at 10. It was called Garbage Express. I made him business cards, flyers. He could go. We had a senior home right next door.
Hmm.
He could go and take out garbage for the seniors, make a couple dollars. He could go to the grocery stores. They
Yeah,
had a grocery store in the
learn
bottom of there,
behavior.
learn behavior. And now he's a business owner, owns
Yeah,
his own marketing company.
yeah, learn
Hmm.
behavior.
Hmm.
Would love to talk to him, especially about marketing,
Oh, sure.
right? But the process again
Hmm.
is what is the ingredient, and
Hmm.
so we don't. When we send a kid out now,
Hmm.
excuse me, we send a kid out now. He's an individual.
Hmm.
You realize that they are. We're not even picking the boys up from the morgues.
Mm.
Black boys are dying, right? Murdered, snatched, right now
And a lot of their bodies are remaining in the
at
morgues.
the morgue.
Mm. Nobody's looking for them.
Nobody's looking for them or picking them up.
Mm.
Last year,
I can bet
the
you that some
numbers.
of it's because some of the parents can't even afford to bury them. So let me just leave them there.
Well, okay,
That's
right,
probably some of the people.
okay.
Mm.
Let's go with that speculation because a few years ago, they had some people come together and they cremated the bodies. Let's say
Mm.
that, right?
Hmm.
Who is that child of?
Right. They died as a John Doe.
Who is that child?
Wow.
What was that child supposed to do? That
Hmm.
child was born here. What was that child going to be? Why do we have children, right?
Hmm.
And we don't prepare them.
Hmm.
We yell at them. We scream at them.
Hmm.
We say they ain't gonna be nothing. You
Hmm.
talked about that.
Hmm.
We say he's just awfully bad.
Bad. You just
Yeah,
bad.
he just bad. Well, where his daddy? His daddy locked up, or his uncle locked up, or somebody is messed, right? Because of the brand. What is the brand of the male species,
Hmm.
right? This is what I'm talking about. What is the brand of a black male, right?
Hmm.
What is the brand of a boy? Because we have white boys dying by opioids and living with hate.
Hmm.
How about that, right?
And so
We have
many of them in
Hispanic
jail.
boys, yeah, white, black, Hispanic males locked up left and right, suicide left and right.
I think I told you I
Yeah.
work in the prisons. So I work in, serve in Macomb County Correctional Facility,
Okay.
men's facility, and in Huron Valley women's facility. And on occasion, I'll go into Calumet or one of the
Okay.
boys' facilities. I don't do the boys, but I work with people that do the boys. And it's sad the number of boys that are in uh, the juvenile
Yeah. Yeah.
facilities and good boys. You could tell there
Yeah.
many of them are good boys that
Just one opportunity.
just want an opportunity, want
Yeah.
someone to care,
Yeah.
and then they go to prison, many of them, and we're
Yeah.
trying to catch them before they go to prison.
Yeah.
And I can remember not too long ago, he had to be maybe just 18, had to be at least 18, I guess, to go into the
Prison.
prison,
Right.
federal prison or a prison. But he was so scared.
Yeah.
He came up to minister. I can't take this place. It's too much. Please help me to get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I could do was pray for him and help him. I couldn't even hug him,
That's it.
you know.
That's it. Because of the decisions.
Hmm.
See, son, you've made decisions.
But it was so sad.
Yeah.
Makes me want to cry right now
The
because he was
decisions.
just young.
I made this decision,
Hmm.
right? Um, we don't prevent that.
Hmm.
And look at the murder rate.
Hmm.
Look at the way that children die. The number one way for a child in the United States to die is by gun.
Hmm.
That's across the board.
Hmm.
The number one way for a child,
Hmm.
baby, child, to child for them to die is by way of gun,
Mm-hmm.
right? Look at the movie industry. Then look at the cop shows. How many cop shows you got? The cop shows is pretty much the only way you will ever see somebody Caucasian really go to jail, right? But
They
Caucasians,
go to jail. It's a
they
bunch
go
of
to
them in
jail.
jail too.
Yeah, it's a bunch of them.
Even some
There's
Oriental.
high number
I
of
saw
them.
an Oriental guy. You don't see too
Yeah,
many
you don't
Oriental.
see too many of that,
I haven't seen
right?
any in the years. I
Right.
said, so the Oriental guy was in there. I
But the
said, well, what
TV,
did you do? I had to ask him. I said, what you
yeah,
do?
but
And
the
I don't normally
TV,
ask him. He said he killed somebody. I said, oh, okay.
the TV
Mm-hmm.
only show you this crime,
Mm-hmm.
which feeds the hate
Mm-hmm.
toward that male.
Mm-hmm.
See, the marginalization through the scope of the television,
Mm-hmm.
we are subconsciously taking it in ourselves.
That all the black kids are doing this, that, and the other.
Then the movies,
The movies. Mhm. Even the crime shows
even the crime
choose to
shows.
pick the CSIs and the
So
datelines and
who's
all that.
hiding, right?
Hmm.
The same people that want to hide the books. The same
Hmm.
people want to change the language.
Hmm.
The same people that want, right? So politically, we want to hide to say this is what the media marginalization. So when you push back, I think I told you we did 2014 in the state of Michigan, in the city of Detroit, we held the men's issue conference with all of these men from all over the world. Dr. Warren Farrell came in here. There were men, Paul Elam. These men came into the city. The city uh, feminists jumped up, raised hizzy, and we couldn't only. It was bringing $1 million into this city,
Hmm.
and we couldn't have it.
Women, stop.
Right? We
Our
could.
men need help and support too.
This was the first ever men's issue
And the
conference.
feminists were trying to shut you down.
They shut us down, so we had
Ugh.
to leave the courtyard. They had to shut down, and so we lost
Mm,
what was going to be $1 million
mm,
inside of
mm,
the city. We lost that, and so they moved it down to the VFW Hall in Grosse Pointe
mm,
on
mm.
Jefferson. So we still
Grosse
had it.
Point didn't need anything.
We still had it, right?
Mm,
But we half the people was gone, right?
that's sad.
But in the conversations
Mm.
and the
What? Well,
relationships,
how did it get in doggone Grosse Point? Richest
men's
area in the world. One
remember
of.
this though, men's issues.
Mm,
You never heard that.
mm,
It was a conference just based on men's issues. All men were welcome. So we had men from India, Germany, uh, globally, I mean Africa, like so many countries flew in, still flew in for this event.
mm,
And so in the conversation that I was able to have was around what was happening to all the males because there were a lot of lies told.
mm,
Middle Eastern men die by diabetes. Men and women die by diabetes more than we do.
mm.
But society says you do,
Right.
right?
Didn't know that.
Right? Suicide, white males.
Mm,
But gun usage, Hispanic and black men, the highest rate.
mm,
So we're causing the very things that we have to remember. God said we must reap what we have sown.
mm,
So men reaped what they have sown, and then now you see where as soon as they got into this position in a political position, what was the first thing? What was first some of the first things they attacked? Women. I want to take this power away from women. God gave us office. This is where the men mess up at. God gave women and men vision, right? He didn't just get a man
mhm,
a vision and somehow you don't have one,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Whoever comes to the table with the vision, Dr. Miles Monroe says, if you have two visions in a house, it's called division,
I remember him saying
right?
that.
You take one vision,
Mhm,
blow it up, and then you multiply to the other visions,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
But then you have to have a certain amount of discipline. How we make our children is a problem, right? Because we have so many kids are made the wrong way. They're not made in love.
mhm.
You see,
You mean
these
what
are
do you mean rapes and
all
just
they just talked about that since last year
mhm,
when they shifted when they got in and to the Senate and they came up with all these things where you couldn't have a baby. If you had a baby, you couldn't abort the baby. If you was having a baby in Alabama, the doctor would get 99 years for helping you with abortion. What he was cutting it off, right? In that time, they had 60,000 rape babies. Now, what is that going to do for epigenetics is real. So what is that going to do for a kid born in this type of climate? From that, that's I'm the seed carrier, and I'm the man. I carry the seed of life.
And they
I,
think that I'm going to be the same way.
no, it doesn't work that way,
Yeah, but they don't know that.
and that's why you have to
And
teach
oftentimes
character.
people will teach them, you're going to be you just like your daddy.
That's not the case.
Mhm.
But they're not if they're not made of love. Right now, you working in the system. I worked at Calumet. You worked in the system. You can see with your own eyes that this child didn't really have what you could offer them, which was love.
That's
You
love.
you could offer them proper love,
They just
something.
need love.
That's it, right? Love is not just the hug. Love is teaching me to read.
Coming to say
Love
I
is
care.
love is teaching me how to be a person.
Yes.
Love is showing me how to walk.
Mhm.
Love is showing me how to talk.
Teaching me how to write in cursive.
Yes, love is
Read a book to me.
yes, yes. The biggest contribution to reading that they found with men, it was when men story told.
Mhm.
Your grandfather told a lot of stories. My grandfather, my
Mhm.
uncles, storytelling,
Mhm.
right before you go to bed.
Mhm.
All of these things were in perfect. These were things that impacted the cognitive brain of a child. Even the study with Dr. Yak Pangsep in Fatherhood and Play, when he discovered that when fathers play with their children,
Mhm.
right,
Mhm.
it impacts them cognitively.
So much so. Oh, that's an awesome thing. My father was one that if you met him, he could be pretty mean. He was pretty stern. But I don't focus on those. I remember him running down the street with us, playing ball with us in the front yard or the backyard. And you have to choose and pick what you choose to remember. Focus on the good things. Think on the good stuff. But everybody doesn't have that opportunity where they could say their parent played with them outside. Get outside and play with your children. Play with your grandchildren. I get outside and play with the kids, have running, football, you name it. Fell one time flat on my face trying to jump up and catch the football. Now they had a time rolling about it, but my grandson, who was 13 now, maybe 11 at the time, he came and helped me up. But you got to get outside and play with these kids. If you fall, get up and say thank you. I didn't break any bones.
Yeah,
But it's important.
it's just too important
Hmm.
for us. For too important for the environment,
Hmm.
right? The when people asked, was on a previous show and they asked, how do you improve or reignite or the community, right? How do you turn around what we're seeing? And I said, I'll make it simple. A boy becomes a man.
Hmm.
Now his journey to become a man has to be influxed with a man. Once he becomes a man, he has to be in a circle where there are other men moving and achieving, because he has to be able to see. You know how y'all have all those women groups and girls pop-ups and
And
the
women, we
sorority.
can't teach men how to
You
really be
cannot.
men.
You cannot.
You got to get them around some
You
good
cannot.
men, whether it's the
You
coach
cannot.
at the football, basketball.
You cannot.
There's just things that we don't know
You cannot.
that we just
Stop
can't.
trying to
We're
do it.
not men.
Right. Stop trying to
But
do it.
but before we have to go, tell me. So you have some upcoming events. You have Respect Day. You have another book called Things a Father Would Say. Tell us about those real quick and
So
your
I have
event.
I have a number of books, right? I
Hmm.
have two books on fatherhood.
Hmm.
Things fathers should say,
And give us your websites.
and 15 things you to know about fatherhood.
Hmm.
Right? My main website is calvintman.com. From there,
Calvin, Calvin, T is in Tom, MANN.com.
yeah, and that'll lead you to all the other websites,
Okay.
right? And
Great websites, by the way. I
thank
looked
you,
at all of them.
thank you,
Hmm.
right? But when you get into this position, respect day is huge. So we got respect day in 2016. In 2016, when we launched it, I was given the day in Wayne County in 2016. 2018, they made it in the state of Michigan. I kept it as Respect Day. It was
Mm-hmm.
Calvin T. Mann was given to me as Calvin T. Mann. I kept it at Respect Day. So this way we can improve school environments.
And it's coming up April the
April 6th,
6th,
yep. And so
right here in the
we
city of Detroit.
we're
But
calling
it's
other
all over.
cities. Yeah, we
Okay.
calling other cities.
They
We
can
calling.
zoom in
They
or
can do that. It's really for them to do their own thing.
oh, so go to the website. You can
Yep,
go to Calvin T. Mann website and get connected with all of the
yep,
websites. And April the 6th is Respect Day.
yep. And so what Respect Day looks like is when the school takes it over, it's poetry, it's dance,
Mhm,
it's art, it's banners,
mhm,
it's kids doing things to express themselves through respect. What does it look like? And so you get all of these dynamic things taking place in the school that the kids put on. This is not for the adults are there to just make sure that they do the right things, but the kids are doing all these performances, right?
mhm.
It literally impacts the school so much that the kids finish up strong.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Mann, we thank you so much for being our guest today, right here on Community Updates. And we tune in with us next week. We're going to have Mr. Baxter to talk about the Ossian Suite Historical Home. And go to calvintmann.com, and that's CALVINT is in Tom, MANN.com, and check out Respect Day. Give some support to these organizations that he has, and they all center around men's mentoring, and men are young people. You don't want to see them go to jail. Let me tell you, I'm in the men's prison, I'm in the women's prison. They don't want to be there. They're waiting and trying their best to get out. We got to stop and help our youth before these things happen. But let's start while they're in school. Teach them cursive writing. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for coming on and being our guest today.
Oh, not a problem.